wanted to do a specific video for vet check just because I thought it was extremely interesting the way that we did it. I've never really been into an actual vet check area where they do the assessments and all that things and the measuring. So kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of what happens. So they call you up. Each of the teams have their certain time frame that they come in. Ours was 11 o'clock. So we all got there at like 10:15 and we just kind of waited around. And then 11 o'clock hit and we all went in, and it was in this gymnasium. They had them separated small, medium, intermediate, and large. And you just kind of went with your teams. And the first thing I noticed was they scan chips everywhere. Like your microchips in your dog, they scan them everywhere. So when you first get there, they scan your chips, the microchip, and then they make sure it lines up with all the information. And then you give them your paperwork. So we needed rabies and distemper. And luckily, my vet, shout out to Dr. J for having the distemper on there, because a few other team members didn't have the proof of vaccination. And one of them had to look on their old email. And then two of them actually had to go to a vet to get another vaccine for that. So luckily it was on our rabies certificate. So they checked over our health certificate. We got sent over. We did all that to fly overseas. And then they checked the rabies certificate with the distemper on it. And then from there, you walk over to the vet who's there. I think she is a vet. I don't know why I air quoted. You walk over to the vet and they scan your chip again. And then you just walk back and forth. We did it twice and she said, good to go. I'm assuming that if there was some sort of gait issue, they probably will pull you aside to check any soreness, but Monty seemed fine. So they just let him go. And then the next part, which I knew would be very, very stressful, was measuring. So when they're doing the measuring, so the first thing that we had an issue was with the wicket that they use is basically like a U-shaped device. So they have a small, medium, they have a small, medium, intermediate, and large wicket. And they're all different sizes. So obviously the intermediate's 18 and 7/8. And it just sits on the ground. And if it touches the ground with the withers, which is the top of the shoulders, they're good. The first thing they did was they gave Monty the border collie one, I guess, the smaller one, and it's like this thin. Of course, Monty's a Sheltie, so he's a lot bigger, and plus he had a little extra pounds on him. So they finally went to the wider one, and that helped a lot because I think it was getting stuck on his rib cage, so it kind of went like this when he would sit there. And he's very, very busy, so he spends a lot of the time looking around at other dogs, and he gets really excited. So that helped going into the wider one for him. So it is just like a U shape, and you put it down. If it touches the ground, you're good. If it doesn't, either it's super close and you have to try to get your dog to calm down, or your dog measures out. Which it was probably the most stressful of the whole competition. Now, once you get your measurement in at a world competition, you're good. Like Monty's not going to be needing to be measured again, which is fabulous. But that was just something that I thought was really interesting, was that wicket device. I felt was really neat. I did want to make a post about this just because I don't think people realize how important the vet check is. I know in other competitions they do tend to be a little bit more intensive on how they check the dogs. They'll pull muscles and they'll start to like feel them up. This was just a gait check, I guess, and then if the dog looked like it had an issue, they would of course assess it. But we've had plenty of people come all the way overseas to compete, and either the dog doesn't take measurement or something's wrong and they feel something off. So I think this was an interesting segment I wanted to do just because I had no idea about it. Like I heard about vet check and I heard about this whole process, but to be part of it and kind of understand how I mean, not necessarily super strict, but how relatively strict. I mean, they gave Monty 3 chances, but how relatively strict they are on the measurement, on how healthy your dog is, and the paperwork. Because again, we had those 2 members that had to get the distemper, even though they're here. They had to do it again. It is just a completely interesting thing that I thought that people should know about if you're interested in doing competitions overseas, being prepared mentally for the not the running, like the health and making sure the dog's solid and making sure the dog measures in and everything like that. Like we got Monty lost as much weight as we could before we came here, and then of course razored him down as much as possible in his hair because he has really thick hair. So I thought it was an interesting segment just for people out there to know. Just a reminder, guys, that we'll be posting a lot of updates here on our YouTube channel, V Rough Crew, about the inside outs of Agility World competitions, because honestly, I don't know if I'll be back at one just because it was hard for us to get here. So we're giving you kind of the inside lane into that. So if you'd like to like and subscribe, we'd love for you to see all this cool information, and cue the jazz music.